Warning, this video contains Code Geass spoilers. All the spoilers. All of them.
What is up everybody, it's Animac here for Anime Uproar and welcome to a brand new Code Geass video. In this video we're going to be talking about everything we know about Geass power and how it works. We're also going to be talking about all the known Geass users, what their Geass power is, and what its limitations are. This has been a big project and we've been working on this one for a while. But with the Code Geass sequel coming out sometime in the future, I thought that it would be a great idea to put everything we know about Geass power and all the known Geass users in one place, so you can keep coming back to this video whenever you need to. I had a lot of help with this video from some of our active members on Discord, and I'm gonna be shouting them out at the end of the video, but I wanna give a quick thank you to Phantom H, who really went out of his way to help me on this one. Thanks buddy, I appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for all the latest Code Geass Season 3 news and theories. And if you want to chat with us on a daily basis and contribute to future videos, you can join our Discord server, link in the description. Now the word Geass comes from the Irish word geese, and in Irish mythology, a geese is a prohibition or an obligation similar to being under a vow or a spell. A geese can be compared with a curse or paradoxically a gift. If someone is under a geese and violates the associated taboo, the infractor will suffer dishonor or even death. On the other hand, the observing of one's geese is believed to bring power. Often it is women who place Geass upon men. In some cases, the woman turns out to be a goddess or other type of magical creature, which of course reminds us of C2 and her contract with Lelouch. Geass power is gained through a contract with an immortal being with code. We can assume that these immortal beings with code were once Geass users themselves, and that they received code from their own contractors once their Geass power reached a certain level. However, we are not sure whether a Geass user can only gain code from their own contractor, the person that gave them Geass, or whether they can gain it from any being with code. The big theory about how Lelouch actually survived the end of R2 is that he became immortal by taking the code away from Charles. And of course we know that Charles is not Lelouch's contractor, C2 is. There is no known example in the series of a Geass user taking code from someone other than their own contractor. However, we can speculate that that might theoretically be possible. This contract between a mortal and a being with code gives the mortal the Geass power to fulfill their greatest wish. For example, in the case of C2, her greatest wish was to be loved, because she grew up as an orphan without a family, and her Geass power was to make people love her. Lelouch's greatest wish was to not be helpless and to have the power to make the world a peaceful place for Nunnally. So of course his Geass power was to have power over other people. Charles's greatest wish was to change the world and to rid the world of lies and deceit. So his Geass power was to change other people's memories. And Shin Hyuga Chang from Akito the Exiled believed that life was a curse, and he wanted to save the people he loved from the curse of life. So his Geass power was actually to make the people he loves kill themselves. It is important to mention that Geass power increases the more it is used. And in the case of someone like Mao, his Geass power actually went out of control and made him mentally unstable. It is also important to mention that Geass power does not work on a code bearer, on a being with code. And every Geass power is tailored specifically to the greatest wishes and ambitions of that particular Geass user. What's more, every Geass power has its own unique limitations, and we will talk about every known Geass user, their particular Geass power, and its limitations later on in this video. We also know that everyone on whom Geass is used must understand the concept of what is being asked from them. So it is a form of mind control and manipulation rather than some all-powerful magical phenomenon. We learned this in Akito the Exiled when Akito's brother Shin tries to kill everyone in his household by using his Geass on them. Akito is the only person who does not die even after Shin uses his Geass on him, because Akito is too young at this point to understand the concept of death. The only potential exceptions to the rule that Geass is some sort of manipulation of the mind are the powers of Dash from the Renya of the Darkness manga and Layla from Akito the Exiled. Another interesting thing that we learn from Akito the Exiled is that a Geass contract may not require a being with code that has a physical body, because Shin appears to receive his Geass from a disembodied skull, a sort of vision of a skull rather than a code bearer with a physical body. And for more information on this skull and what it might be, you can check out our top 10 mysteries in Code Geass video, link in the description. And now we're going to talk about all the known Geass users, what their Geass power is, and what its limitations are. In this case, we are only looking at canonical Geass users, which means that we are looking at the original Code Geass series, the Akito the Exiled OVA, and the Oz the Reflection and Renya of the Darkness manga. These are all spin-offs that do not conflict with the events and the timeline of the original series, which is why we're considering them canon, as opposed to other spin-offs like Nightmare of Nunnally, for example, which clearly changes the events and the timeline of the original series, and for that reason we do not consider it canon. And what better place to start than Lelouch v Britannia? His Geass power is forcing someone to obey a particular command when making direct eye contact with them. His limitations include the fact that he has to make direct eye contact, and that he can only use this power once on any single person. The only possible exception is if someone has been affected by Jeremiah's Geass Canceller. We believe that the Geass Canceller may negate Lelouch's Geass, which would allow him to then use his Geass power once again on the same person if that person was first affected by the Geass Canceller. C2. Her Geass power before she received Code was to make those around her fall in love with her. The specific limitations of her power are unknown. We do not have enough information. However, we are speculating that she is possibly unable to turn off her power, just like Mao couldn't turn off his. Charles Z. Britannia. His Geass power is altering a person's memories. With this power, he is able to suppress the Geass of another user, and even the physical senses, such as sight. His limitations include that he has to make direct eye contact, and that his Geass can potentially be broken without a Geass Canceller, as appeared to be the case with Nunnally. Marianne v Britannia. Her Geass power is transferring her consciousness along with her Geass into another person's body. She can take control of the host's body from time to time, and she also has the ability to communicate telepathically with C2. Her limitations include that she has to make direct eye contact, and it is speculated that she can only use this power when she is about to die in order to save herself. Mao. His Geass power is hearing the conscious thoughts of anyone within 500 meters, so the equivalent of mind reading. His limitations include that his Geass works only within 500 meters in distance and 300 meters in height. And when the Geass reaches a certain level, it cannot be turned off, which has led Mao to mental instability. Rolo. Rolo's Geass is stopping the sense of time for all individuals within a certain radius, effectively paralyzing them. The range varies depending on the situation. Rolo's limitations include that his heartbeat stops while using the Geass, which puts a great physical strain on his body. We can also assume that although the range of his Geass is extensive, such as the entire Ashford campus, it cannot possibly be the entire world, so his range has to be limited. Bismarck Waldstein. His Geass power is seeing up to a few seconds into the future, which allows him to predict the moves of his opponents in battle. However, his power may actually be to predict the mental intentions of his opponents rather than seeing into the actual future. For his limitations, we know that when not using his Geass, his eyelid is actually sewn shut, which implies that he cannot turn off his Geass. And the final Geass user in the Code Geass series is an unnamed child that is part of the Geass order. The Geass of this child appears to be to control the body of another person against their will with the use of hand gestures. For the limitations, even though we only see this child briefly, we can assume that direct eye contact is required. And since hand gestures and eye contact are required to manipulate the other person's movements, we can also assume that it can be used only on one person at a time. And now we will discuss the characters in the Oz of the Reflection manga. Orpheus Zevon. His Geass is to trick all people within a certain radius into thinking that he is someone else. He looks and sounds exactly like the other person. His limitations include that he has a time limit of 5 minutes and must take time to recharge if he uses his Geass power more than twice. The range of his Geass is also assumed to have a limit, though the exact limit is not known. Finally, his Geass cannot fool cameras as they do not have a consciousness that can be manipulated, so someone watching him through a camera would still see him and not who he's pretending to be. Clara Lanfranc. Her power is forcing someone's body to obey her every command when she calls out that person's name. She only controls the physical body and not the mind of this person. Her limitations include that she must call out the person's real name. If a different name is spoken, the Geass will have no effect. Toto Thompson. Her Geass is erasing the memories of another person. Her limitations include that she must remove her glasses in order to make direct eye contact, and that unlike Charles, she cannot create false memories, only erase existing ones. And Maribel Mel Britannia. Her Geass is to permanently enslave another person and turn them into a mindless doll. Her limitation is that she cannot undo her command once it is definitively given. And moving on to Akito the Exiled OVA, we have Shin Hyuga Chang, whose Geass is commanding those he loves to kill themselves or to kill others. His limitations are that his Geass only works on individuals that he loves, and the individual in question must understand the concept of death in order for the Geass to work. Layla Malkal. Her Geass is very mysterious and we do not have a lot of information about it. However, we do have a theory. I believe that her Geass is protecting the ones she loves by connecting their minds to create a mini collective consciousness. And this allows her to manipulate even physical reality, and this is why the larger collective consciousness singles her out as unique in the final episode of Akito the Exile. In terms of her limitations, my theory is that it only takes effect if her life or the life of someone she loves is in danger. And finally, in the Renya of the Darkness manga, we have Lorenzo Ilsa. His Geass is projecting illusions in order to make people see what he wants them to see. The illusion can affect multiple people at once. His limitations are not known to us, however we can assume that he has to make direct eye contact. And Shiori. Her Geass is reversing the order of priority in a person's heart. So for example, she makes Lorenzo change his mind about killing Claire Lee Britannia. Her limitation is that she cannot change a person's entire mindset, only their first priority in life. And those are all the known canonical Geass users. But I want to mention Jeremiah Gottwald as well. He has an artificial Geass canceller, which he can use on all people affected by Geass within a certain range. However, its effects can be negated with the Gaifeng Disturber. I want to give a quick thank you to all our awesome members on Discord who helped out with this video, including, as I mentioned, Phantom H, but also No Digit, Vector Maximus, Sol Maka, Ateru, Hamlet the Dane, Jeremiah, Emperor Lelouch, and Amelia is Best Girl. Thanks a lot, everybody. There has also been a lot of speculation recently that Code Geass Season 3 could feature different and higher forms of Geass power. In the Code Geass sequel PV, we see a Geass that appears to flash green briefly before turning reddish again, and this has led many to speculate that green Geass could be a different, perhaps higher form of Geass power. Now I personally think that different and higher forms of Geass are definitely a possibility for Code Geass Season 3. In Akito the Exiled, we actually see a mysterious being that does not have a physical form manifest before Layla, and when she talks to Layla, she tells her that humans only possess a small fragment of Geass power, and that humans cannot even comprehend the true nature of Geass. To me, this suggests that we might discover more fragments of Geass and higher levels of Geass in the sequel, which would be really interesting. I can't wait to find out. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and theories about Code Geass Season 3. If you want to chat with us on a daily basis and contribute to future videos, you can join our Discord server, link in the description. And until next time, see ya! Space Cowboys.